Have you ever gone to bed with, your whole to-do list perfectly clear in your head, only to wake up and it's just gone, completely vanished?
Oh, definitely. Or maybe you've pulled an all-nighter studying for a big test.
Yeah, thinking you've got it all locked down.
And then you sit down and you draw a total blank on the easy stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you might blame, I don't know, your focus, maybe even think you're just not smart enough for it.
Right. But here's where it gets really interesting. The real issue might not be about what you're doing when you're awake at all. It might actually be about what's happening, or maybe what isn't happening when you're asleep.
Okay, intriguing. So sleep isn't just downtime.
Not at all. That's a common misconception, that it's just like an off switch for your brain.
Right.
But it's actually a really active and, frankly, essential biological function. While you're completely out of it, your brain is hard at work.
Doing what exactly?
Performing some pretty critical housekeeping.
Yeah.
And a huge part of that is something called memory consolidation.
Memory consolidation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think of it like this. Your brain is meticulously sorting through everything from the day. It's filing away experiences, moving them from, like, temporary sticky notes
Into the permanent archives.
precisely into more permanent storage.
And here's the kicker, I guess. If your sleep isn't good enough, maybe it's too short or too shallow, or you keep waking up, you could be, unknowingly sabotaging your brain's ability to actually do that filing, to retain things, retrieve them later, even refine memories.
It's like a silent erosion. It happens quietly. You might not even notice it day to day.
Okay, so for this deep dive, our mission really is to unpack that. How does sleep directly impact your memory?
Yeah, and we'll get into which habits might be secretly hurting that connection and maybe which ones could surprisingly help.
And also, look at how natural cognitive support, maybe something like Cognicare Pro, could potentially enhance both sleep quality and brain health.
Consider this your shortcut, maybe, to understanding a really fundamental connection, one that honestly impacts every single day of your life.
All right, so where do we start? Maybe with how memory actually, works.
Yeah, that's the perfect place, because that's where sleep really slots in. Memory isn't just one single thing, right?
Right, it feels more complicated than that.
It is. It's a dynamic, complex system, and it involves, broadly speaking, 3 key stages. First, there's encoding.
Encoding, like taking information in.
Exactly. That's the initial learning bit, taking in a new info. Then comes consolidation.
The filing stage we mentioned.
That's the one. Stabilizing that information, transferring it into long-term storage, and then finally there's retrieval.
Getting it back out when you need it.
Right. Accessing that information later on.
And it's that middle one, consolidation, that's so deeply tied to sleep, isn't it?
Absolutely, profoundly linked. While your body is resting, your brain is anything but idle. It's busy sorting through all those fresh short-term memories.
Deciding what's important enough to keep.
Pretty much. Which ones get transferred into the long-term storage banks?
But what is it about sleep specifically that makes it so good at this filing process?
That's a great question, and it really comes down to the different stages of sleep. It's not just one uniform state.
Okay.
This consolidation process seems especially active during 2 really critical stages. Slow wave sleep, that's often called deep sleep, and REM sleep.
Deep sleep and REM sleep, got it.
So slow wave sleep, your deepest non-dreaming phase. Think of it like the brain's super efficient data transfer system.
Okay.
It seems to literally replay recent declarative memories, facts, figures, things you learned, and moves them.
From where to where?
From temporary holding areas like the hippocampus to more permanent storage spread out across the cortex.
Wow.
And what's really fascinating, some research suggests specific brain waves during deep sleep, called sleep spindles.
Sleep spindles.
Yeah, they seem to be directly correlated with how well someone can learn the next day. So it's not just getting deep sleep, but the quality of that brain activity within the sleep itself.
That's amazing. So quality over just quantity, in a way.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Okay, so what about REM sleep then? How does that fit into the memory picture?
REM sleep seems to be more about processing emotional context and also solidifying procedural memories.
Procedural, like skills.
Exactly.
Right.
Learning to ride a bike, mastering a new piece of software, playing an instrument. It's almost like your brain runs mental simulations of these new movements or deeply felt experiences during REM.
So if you skimp on either deep sleep or REM,
if you don't get enough high-quality sleep across both those key stages, your brain simply can't effectively save everything you've learned or experienced properly.
which explains why bad sleep hits everything.
Right. It affects your grades, your emotional stability, even how well you perform physical tasks. Your motor skills can suffer.
It really makes so much sense when you lay it out like that. So, okay, if we might be accidentally messing up this whole process, what are the common red flags? Signs that maybe your sleep habits are sabotaging your memory without you realizing it.
Well, some obvious ones are things like waking up a lot during the night or consistently getting less than, say, 6 hours of sleep.
Okay.
Even using screens right before trying to sleep. That blue light is a known issue.
Right, we hear about that one a lot.
But it goes a bit deeper, too. Things like drinking caffeine too late in the day,
Guilty.
maintaining really inconsistent sleep schedules, going to bed and waking up at wildly different times. That's a big one for disrupting your body's natural clock.
The circadian rhythm.
Exactly. Or even just dealing with chronic stress or anxiety. All of those can be seriously detrimental.
And it's not just about feeling tired the next day, is it?
No, not at all. These factors actively disrupt what we call your sleep architecture.
Sleep architecture. Okay, tell me more about that.
Absolutely. So think of your night's sleep like a carefully constructed building or maybe a symphony.
Okay, I like the symphony analogy.
Each stage, light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, is like a distinct movement. And they need to happen in the right order for the right amount of time for the brain to do all its restorative work, including that memory processing.
So if you mess with the schedule or have caffeine too late,
You disrupt the symphony. You don't just miss a few notes, you might miss entire crucial movements, especially those slow wave and REM periods needed for consolidation.
which directly messes with your memory.
Directly impairs memory consolidation, yes.
Okay, so that's the problem. What about solutions? What can we actually do to protect our memory, maybe even sharpen it, by focusing on sleep?
Well, the foundation is really optimizing sleep habits. First off, try sticking to a consistent sleep schedule.
Even on weekends. That's the hard part.
That is the hard part. But your circadian rhythm, that internal 24-hour clock, loves consistency. It governs when you feel sleepy, when you feel alert.
Hormones, body temperature, all that stuff.
All of that. So aligning your sleep with it by going to bed and waking up around the same time every day really helps synchronize your brain for optimal function. It makes a huge difference.
Makes sense. What else? Environment matters, right?
Absolutely key. A cool, dark, and quiet room is generally best. So maybe think about blackout curtains or perhaps a white noise machine if you need it.
And the screens. We mentioned blue light.
Crucial step. Limit screen time before bed. That blue light from phones, tablets, TVs, it actively suppresses melatonin.
Melatonin being the sleep hormone.
Exactly. The hormone that signals, okay, body, time to wind down. So powering down those devices at least an hour before you plan to sleep can really significantly improve your sleep quality.
Okay, an hour. That's a good target.
Yeah.
And what about things we consume, like coffee or maybe a nightcap?
Yeah, definitely vital to cut back on caffeine and alcohol, especially later in the day. Caffeine can linger in your system for, well, up to 8 hours sometimes.
8 hours, wow. So that 3 p.m. coffee could still be impacting sleep at 11 p.m.
It absolutely could be impacting your deep sleep stages, yeah. And alcohol.
Yeah.
It might make you feel sleepy initially, help you fall asleep faster maybe,
Hey.
but it actually disrupts your REM cycles later in the night. And we just talked about how important REM is for emotional regulation and procedural memory.
Right. I know for me, trying to recall complex stuff after a night with bad sleep,
Yeah.
it feels impossible. Like trying to find a specific book when all the library shelves are knocked over.
That's a perfect analogy. Exactly. And one more thing. Try practicing some kind of wind-down ritual.
Like what?
Something that signals to your body, okay, the day is ending, time to relax. Could be gentle stretching, meditation, reading a physical book.
Not on a tablet.
Preferably not. Or even just taking a warm bath. Anything that helps you transition into a more relaxed state, readying the brain for its important nightly work.
So these lifestyle changes sound like the real bedrock, the foundation for better sleep and memory.
They absolutely are. Non-negotiable, really.
But you also mentioned natural supplements offering support. That's where something like Cognicare Pro might fit in.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It's formulated as cognitive support, designed with ingredients that aim to help both brain function and promote restful sleep. So it tackles both sides of the equation.
Okay, let's unpack some of those ingredients. You mentioned they're science-backed.
Yes, there's research behind them. Take Bacopa monnieri, for instance. It's an herb known for potentially enhancing memory and learning.
How does it do that?
One way is by reducing oxidative stress in the brain. But it also seems to help calm the nervous system.
Ah, so that connects to sleep.
Directly. By calming things down, it helps prepare your brain for those crucial restorative sleep cycles. Then there's L-theanine.
Found in green tea, right?
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's an amino acid that promotes relaxation without causing drowsiness, which is interesting.
How does that work?
It appears to promote alpha brainwaves. These are the waves associated with a state of, like, relaxed alertness. So it can improve sleep quality, help reduce anxiety, making it easier to actually get into those vital deep sleep stages.
Okay. And the formula often includes ginkgo biloba, too. I've heard of that one from memory.
Yeah, ginkgo is well known for potentially improving cerebral blood flow.
And why is blood flow important during sleep for memory?
Better blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients getting to the brain. This helps with recovery and repair overnight. It also seems to assist with memory recall and mental clarity during the day, basically keeping the filing system well-nourished.
Makes sense. Any other key ingredients?
Lion's mane mushroom is another exciting one.
Oh, yeah. Why is that?
It seems to stimulate something called nerve growth factor, or NGF.
Nerve growth factor.
Think of it like fertilizer for your brain cells. It promotes the growth and maintenance of neurons, the basic building blocks for all cognitive function, including memory. Studies suggest it might help with both memory and mood.
Interesting. And I think some versions also include a bit of melatonin.
Right, often microdosed melatonin.
How does that help specifically?
Well, melatonin, as we said, helps regulate the natural sleep-wake cycle. So a small amount can be useful if you struggle with falling asleep initially, or if your internal clock, your circadian rhythm, is just a bit out of whack.
So putting it all together.
Together, these ingredients potentially offer a dual benefit. They aim to nurture brain cells directly, and they support the deep, restorative sleep cycles that are just absolutely essential for robust memory consolidation.
Okay. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for everyone listening?
I think a main thing is how easy it is to overlook sleep, especially today, right? In our fast-paced, always-on hustle culture.
Yeah, there's almost this badge of honor for burning the midnight oil.
Exactly. But skipping out on deep, restful sleep, it costs you way more than just feeling groggy or tired the next day.
Is that silent erosion you mentioned?
Yes. It can quietly, systematically erode your memory, it can stifle your creativity, and it can impact your long-term brain health in ways you might not really notice until the problems become significant.
So taking steps to improve sleep, maybe incorporating smart natural support, if it's right for you. It's not just about feeling better tomorrow morning.
No, it's much bigger than that. By upgrading your sleep habits, you're not just, sleeping, you're actually investing in your future self.
Yeah.
You're building a more resilient, sharper mind for the long haul.
A clearer mind, better memory, sharper thinking.
Yeah.
It all starts where your day ends.
Right back in bed, the brain's work continues even when you're clocked out.